Ms McVeigh, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship. I'd also like to direct members to my entry in the Declaration of Register of Members' Financial Interests. And I'd like to also just congratulate the member for Wellesley and Eccles South in securing this important debate. The circumstances of the Winterbourne Views scandal have already been described in this debate, and so I don't want to repeat that history, but I share others' shock and outrage at the way in which some of the most vulnerable patients in our healthcare system have been treated in assessment and treatment units. Those attitudes and this kind of abuse should be historical. The shameful thing is that they're still with us a decade later. 10 years after the NHS should have changed for good, new scandals keep emerging. Across the system, the levels of physical and chemical restraint remain disturbingly high. The CQC report is the latest to recommend change, and the government's response is needed urgently. Although there has been a welcome emphasis on moving patients into other settings, we know that there are over 2,000 people with a learning disability or autism in ATUs right now, and around 200 of these are children. Progress has been slow, admissions aren't falling, and these patients are still staying in ATUs for an average of 5.5 years. We've yet to build enough support in the community. The Building the Right Support programme is a catalogue of missed targets, and I hope the Minister can tell us why we should have done more, we should have more confidence in the targets set by NHS England's long-term plan. Because the record to date is not encouraging. Until the cross-governmental action plan is published, as promised, I'm afraid scepticism will prevail. We've heard why families are worried. There are two aspects of current care that particularly trouble me. The first is the widespread use of antipsychotic medication. Drugged up patients are no doubt easier to manage, but it could take years to wean them off these drugs. And even then, the consequences continue. But the second can be read today in today's Telegraph about the do not resuscitate notices. And I put that to the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care at the Select Committee today. And what we're really talking about here is a culture that those with learning difficulties or autistic people, well, their needs are sometimes not treated as important. As many honourable members said today, these people are able to live fulfilled lives. These are human beings with plenty to live for. So the idea that a do not resuscitate notice can be placed on the record of Sonia Deleon, who very sadly died, and when it was looked about why she wouldn't be resuscitated, it simply said the word learning disabilities. That is unacceptable. Our pride in the NHS should not bind us to its failings. It has systematically failed people with learning difficulties and autistic people. Their trauma is real. The damage is lasting. I have confidence that we now have a government who are going to take their commitments on social care seriously. And as many members have said today, that includes those of the working age population, not just those who are old. But this action must finally happen.